let's go into HemoHim and cancer, because this is really what it was developed for. And all the other anti-inflammatory and hormone balance, etc., they're all side benefits. But this really was the #1 reason that HemoHim was developed. And how does it fight cancer? I need to explain to you how you get cancer. Once you understand that, then you're going to understand why HemoHim is so incredible for preventing cancer. And if you do have cancer, then it will also help you fight it. So every single person, you, me, your neighbor next door, we all have cancer. You think, whoa, what does that mean? We all have cancer because every single day our bodies produce between 1,000 to 5,000 cancerous cells every day. Every day. 1,000, every day 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. But how come everyone doesn't have cancer? It's because your body has a natural ability to vacuum up these cancer cells. That's what I call, that's the analogy I like to use, because in your bloodstream, you have millions of vacuum cleaners that identifies the cancer cells and kills them and sucks them up. Just like, think of cancer cells as dust in your house. Every day, no matter how much, if you vacuum once a day, you have to vacuum every week, because if you don't, you can see the dust rising up. And most of the dust actually is our skin cells. You might not have known that. But so the vacuum cleaners in our body are your white blood cells, specifically your NK cells, called natural killer cells. They not only vacuum up cancerous cells, but they vacuum up viruses and they vacuum up bacteria in your bloodstream. This is why HemoHim is so important, because HemoHim's #1 function is to stimulate your bone marrow to produce these white blood cells and red blood cells. But for cancer and fighting virus and bacteria, it's the white blood cells, which are your immune cells. And there's several types of white blood cells, but the important white blood cells for fighting cancer and destroying viruses and destroying bacteria that's in your bloodstream are the NK cells, and they stand for natural killer cells. And you have about 5 million of these natural killer cells in about a teaspoon of your blood. And it's your bone marrow's job to continually make them. But the problem is that when you're under a severe amount of stress, chronic stress, or as you get older, your ability to make these vacuum cleaners, these white blood cells, the NK cells, decreases dramatically. And this is the problem, is that you're continually creating the dust, creating cancer cells every day from the toxins that affect your cells, from the air, from the toxins in your food, toxins that you ingest, things that land on your skin. You're continually making cancer cells. And so, which means you have to continually make those vacuum cleaners, because as each one cleans up cancer cells, they die. These white blood cells don't live forever. They also die, which means you have to continue to replenish them. And you do that, and how that is done by the bone marrow. And what HemoHim's job is to actually make sure you get more, continually make those NK natural killer cells. That is its #1 function. #2 function is it also stimulates the bone marrow to make red blood cells, because your red blood cell count goes down as well as you're under more stress and as you get older. So it's imperative that as you get older, you balance out the production of these cancer cells, etc., with making sure you take those herbs, etc., that helps you to keep those blood cells producing. And this is why older people get such incredible results by taking HemoHim regularly. It's such a small price to pay for an incredible amount of benefit for the body, just that you can't see what it's doing. right? So this is how we balance out getting rid of the cancer cells, because whether you do anything or not, you are creating these cancer cells every day. And unfortunately, we are under a tremendous amount of stress. And once the stress level goes up to a certain level and stays there, the ability to make these NK cells basically drops to nothing. And this is why it allows the cancer cells to then grow, because it's accumulating. Once it accumulates to a certain tipping point, there's the tumor, there's the whatever cancer, and then it affects the function of your body, and that's when you're diagnosed as cancer. And medically, all they do is they try to get rid of the diagnosed cancer, but they do nothing for preventing it. That's your job, and that's where HemoHim comes from. Okay, so all of you should be taking HemoHim every day. If nothing else, if you cannot afford anything, even if you can't afford food, you should be taking HemoHim, because it is more valuable, 10x, than any food you're going to eat with respect to your overall health. All right, so I'm going to move on.
Inside all of us.
This actually is a 2-minute video visually that I'm not going to play, but you can watch it when you get the replay of this meeting, because it's going to show you actually how those white blood cells actually destroy the cancerous cells and the viruses. All right, so this is a huge topic right now, the HemoHim and COVID-19 and the variants, fighting viruses and bacterial infections. All of you that are taking HemoHim regularly, at least 2 a day, you are protected, because you are protected in the sense that you are making those vacuum cleaners to basically vacuum up any of these viruses that you may come in contact with, because you can't control what's outside. The only thing you can control is your internal system. And if inside is strong, it doesn't matter what's out there. It doesn't matter who you come in contact with. You will not have issues. And even if you do come in contact with something, your body will be able to take care of it. This is why I'm not worried, because I know my immune system is strong. And if you're not worried, your ability, that decreases your stress, that reduces, that then keeps your blood vessels, not the blood vessels, your immune system strong. The more you worry, the weaker your immune system is going to be. And that's very, very powerful. So you need to stop worrying. If you're taking your HemoHim and you're eating good food, you're getting enough rest, you're doing everything to keep your body working at its optimum, to just stop worrying. And one thing about COVID, the blood clots, etc., from the spike proteins, and especially people who's had adverse effects, HemoHim has been a tremendous benefit for people who have been suffering from some of the side effects. I've had a good friend of mine, her mother took the shots in April, vibrant, healthy. She was 65, just totally healthy. Within 3 months of the shot, she ended up with basically severe dementia, where she could not even remember how to get back home. It was terrible. And my friend was just so devastated. And she said, what can I do? And I said, HemoHim, 6 a day. And within 6 weeks of 6 a day of HemoHim, she was back to her old self. That is incredible. I never expected that kind of result. That is the power of HemoHim. And same thing, there's so many other stories like that. So firstly, prevent the effects. If you've had the vaccines, I would suggest you make sure you take at least 3 or 4 HemoHims a day consistently for a good 6 to 8 months, 4 a day, just to get rid of all of the effects that you may encounter later, to prevent it. And then if everything looks good, in about 6 months, then go back down to 2. It can't, it's a small price to pay, but that would be what I would do. And the variants right now are really just colds, okay? Everyone gets colds. Fortunately, if you've been vaccinated, you are going to suffer much more because the vaccines tend to reduce your effectiveness of your immune system. So that's why you need to actually take more, double up on your HemoHim. I suggest during this winter season, because the winter season is the viral season, because they're very active during that time, if you've been taking 2 a day, I would suggest you take 4 a day for at least the next 3 to 4 months, just so you get more protection. It can hurt. I take 3 a day right now because it is the cold season, especially when you live in the northern climates, because we come in and out of the cold, hot, cold, warm, and that's very stressful for our bodies. Those of you who are in a constant temperature, like in Florida, not much of an issue. It's the northern climates like here in Canada. And so I would suggest right now, take 3 a day. If you're typically healthy, 3 a day would work really well, okay?